Hello, brothers and sisters. Raven here. Pushing forward in the Conference of Homestead Heritage this year. I am going to just do probably a short one. At least I hope this can be short. Just summarizing the next two that they had, the next two sessions. Because these two, not much that really needs to be said, because this is what they're a little more public about. This is what they don't hide as well as other things. So I don't really need to say a whole lot, but I do want to go over a little bit of where there's deception. The first one is from an outside source. They bring in a pastor who's nearby, just have him speak. Obviously, because he is against the Trinity as they are, he goes by the oneness. And as I've said in my book and other places, that alone isn't the real issue. That is something I highly disagree with. I do not see as biblical. But the issue is what Homestead kind of adds to that, where it takes it. And I can tell this speaker does seem to go a little bit that direction, but not quite as far. So really, I'm not going to go through him much because they brought him in simply to have a better image, I think. And because it was one of the few topics they're a little bit more open about. So though I disagree with some things he does in this, and I see really bad twisting of scripture in this, it's terrible how he does it, and he keeps talking one way and then says the opposite, and it's like he's making a point that doesn't need to be made. He's all over the place. So it's not one that I'm really going to trust as this is what they really believe, nor is it one that I really feel I need to show much about. The next one, however, is from Zach Herbert. And as always, not easy for me to watch and listen to, and especially in this case. Because, I don't know if he's thinking of me in particular when he says it, but there's a point where he talks about those of us who were upset by what he was doing, by some of his teaching, and twists what we said. He makes it so that it's as though we were saying, don't do good works. That's the way he makes it sound. Not at all what we said. Treats it as though we were telling him to stop teaching about sin, which is not at all what we said. I said multiple times to those people I did speak to about it, if I remember correctly, even him once, I said, my problem isn't that you're teaching these messages about sin, it's that that's all you teach. One message in particular that I listened to not long ago that was recorded, he actually went into grace. However, before he started, he said he was doing this because everybody put pressure on him to talk about grace. He didn't really want to teach about it. That was the issue we pointed out. Not because we didn't think there was sin, not because we didn't think we needed to avoid sin, but because we thought there was a lot more we needed to learn, that alone was not the only thing that mattered. But that's the way he treated it. However, most of what he talks about here isn't that big a deal. It doesn't really matter because it's more of him going through a lot of Old Testament stories and things to try to take examples of God pulling people away from different cities or places to imply or even state that thus we need to get away from the world and separate ourselves into a community like Homestead Heritage. And he never stops to consider, well, what about all the time that people did spend in there and God didn't pull them out? Why wouldn't he immediately pull them out at the start? Why is it some generations would stay there over and over and over until one generation he finally pulls them out? Why does this apply to us? He doesn't stop to consider that. He doesn't explain that. He just treats it as though because it was done sometimes in the Old Testament, we need to do it all the time. So, very bad reasoning behind it, bad logic, but that's most of what his message is. And that right there, that's often what starts a cult. Not always. Sometimes I've seen some places that kind of do that kind of thing, and it's not going that direction. It's not adding all these extra rules that they seem to be adding. It's not changing their teachings in any way, like they definitely are. It's just trying to get away from the world because you're tired of it, you're sick of it, whatever the case may be. And that's not a problem. It's this. It's when you have these men taking authority and pushing particular teachings, such as constant condemnation. So after having started this whole conference with them trying to push this idea that there's no need for reasoning, no need for logic, that it should all be experience, and then they go into these. They first try to change your view of who God is, and then they go into this thing of how you need to live. So far, everything they're sharing is sort of their basics, which makes sense. You're just starting off with your foundation. But notice what it does. Get you into a place where they're thinking for you. Then you have to live under the conditions they give you. These are not just giving you foundation. These are confining you. These are doing more to control you before they go further into the things they keep more under the surface. Which is why I decided to just share these two before going on to the next, because the next one is the one that appears to be sort of based off Blair's book, Is the Church Christ on Earth? Because the message itself is named that on YouTube. That's the name of the video. And if they really are going down that road, this is where they're going to start pushing the stuff that they want to keep more hidden, that they're not going to be as open about. So, go into that next week. But for now, notice this is trying to make it look good, make others look bad, and thus make it so you need to separate from them. Get away from others who don't teach as they do. Then, it looks like they're going to show us what they really want to teach. I'll see you guys next time. God bless.